After Effects has recently been updated with a ton of new presets, and I've organized them all into a single project file by category so that they're easy to view and you can start using them in your own projects. So here they all are. This is 111 new presets since the 2022 batch. There's now been a second batch. More recently, if you update to the latest version of After Effects, all of these presets will be in your Effects and Presets panel. The problem is you can't really distinguish which ones are new versus which ones are old. That's why I've made this project file so you can see all of the new presets all at once here, but you can also separate it out into the different batches. So we have the 2022 batch where 8 of these text animators were my contributions. Other people contributed like Evan Abrams, Jason Boone from Boone Loves Video, and other great motion designers, as well as John Colombo, who's a friend of mine on the After Effects team. He has also worked with Evan Abrams to make most of these presets here in the 2024 update. Like I said, if you've updated the latest version of After Effects, you now have access to these. So I've separated these out by date. We have the giant contact sheet, but I've also made a categorized folder here where you can view all of these presets by category. So we can go into just the backgrounds and see those elements. These new anime backgrounds are super cool, and they're a great learning tool to see how these were built. Just double click into the comp, the presets already applied, and you can look at the effects stack that was required to make this animation. And you'll see that it's based on fractal noise. Now, up at the top of most of these presets, there are expression controls that allow you to dial this in to look different than it does by default. So we have a speed slider. I can turn this down to 50, and now it's gonna animate more slowly. You can change the angle. It doesn't have to be from the left. There's a pinch to kind of change perspective. This is a really great set of controls that you probably would never know about if you didn't go digging through the Effects and Presets panel, apply some presets, and see what they do. So I hope that's what this project file will do for you. Will give you an overview of everything you have access to, and that you get in here and start looking at the controls. You can even see that there's a posterized time slider at the end, so if you wanted this to be at the frame rate of your comp, you could change it up to 30 frames per second in this case, or if you wanna go for that traditional animation style, drop it down to 12 or 24, and that's what you're going to get. And by the way, if you're new to After Effects and you really wanna get a solid foundation of how this program works, check out Launch into After Effects. It's the most comprehensive intro to After Effects ever, where you'll create 10 fun, unique motion design projects that each teach you a different aspect of the software and build on the previous lesson. There are over 20 hours of video lessons that'll get you up to speed in After Effects and kickstart your motion design career. Head to jakeinmotion.com to enroll and launch into After Effects today. So I encourage you to look through all of these different categories. Like I said, I separated them all out. There's a behaviors comp. This has lots of different use cases. Just read the name of the comp. That's the name of the preset, and you'll be able to understand what it does. Some of them are really intelligent. Like this one is a trim paths that's based on the out point of the layer. So if I move this around, it's going to retime that trim. And if I go into the effects controls, I can change how long that takes to animate off. So I could say 1/4 of a second instead of 1 second, and it will go more quickly. So again, dig through these, see what they do, play around with their controls, and really take a look at these newer presets because a lot of them are really, really smart. Like this one right here, I love. It's a bounding box. This is going to be based on a different layer. So you choose the layer you want it to be bounding around, and then it automatically sizes to that layer, and it gives you great controls for how much padding there is, the handle size, all different kinds of things that apply to a handful of these presets, like these frames. So we've got a postage stamp. Lots of similar controls that are dynamic based on the layer they're applied to. Speaking of which, there's a new 2D text box. Before we had one that was shaped layer based. That's this one right here, 2D text box shape. But now we also have this one right here that is mask and effects based, meaning it can be applied on the text layer itself and the box is generated on that layer. No shape layer necessary and all of the same controls. I talked to John about how he made this one. It's fantastic. There are so many controls inside of this 2D text box effect. Definitely check it out. You can really be precise with how things are done even on a per corner basis. So take a look at that and see how you can use it for your own designs. We've also got some great graphs and charts, textures, transitions, and some of my favorites are these monospaced counters down here. So if I go into here, we've got an hour, minutes, seconds. This is all on one text layer. It's monospaced, meaning it's not gonna shift those characters around, which is fantastic. And it has a really sophisticated set of controls that are easy to manipulate and dial in to be exactly what you want. And like I said, there are a handful of those counters. They're just really, really great additions to your After Effects library. And if you look at any of these thumbnails and you're not exactly sure what they're doing, they might be under the utilities category, like this separate X, Y, and Z scale. That's not gonna have any motion to it. What that does is separates the X, Y, and Z scale into separate sliders for you so you can animate those separately. You can use the value graph on those separated dimensions. Really, really great. It can be applied to any layer. So if you're looking at these thumbnails and you don't see any animation, you're not sure what that preset does, just go into that pre-comp, look at the pre-comp's name, and you should be able to figure out what it's meant to do. This one right here is another one of my favorites. It's just a switchable cursor element, and it has a drop-down menu for lots of different types of pointers. You customize the colors like any other shape layer, and I love the way that this one was built. If you press U, we've got keyframes on the paths, and the expression that is on the path property just switches between those keyframes based on the drop-down value. It's brilliant because now all of the paths aren't showing up at the exact same time and just turning their transparencies on and off. I'm telling you, a lot of thought and care was put into all of these presets, so please download this project file, look at the presets, appreciate them, and start using them in your own projects. Now keep in mind, you do not need this project file in order to use these presets. All you need to do is update to the latest version of After Effects. My project file is just a guide to keep all of this organized for you so you can easily browse all of the presets and see exactly what they do without having to dig through the Effects and Presets panel. So go ahead and download that project file. The link is in the description. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.